Welcome back, ladies and gents. Michael or Legacy Kill HD back today with another Elder Scrolls 6 video for you. But this is actually not necessarily just Elder Scrolls 6, this is really just about all future Bethesda Game Studios titles. And before you go crazy thinking why should Bethesda Game Studios even do a multiplayer game, hear me out, because there's a very big difference between a Call of Duty multiplayer game and maybe something on the sorts of like a Rust multiplayer or an Arma multiplayer game. So let's start with some of the big information that we know about multiplayer with Bethesda Game Studios. If you guys aren't aware, during an interview with Todd Howard about Fallout 4, he revealed that during the early pre-production, they actually worked on a multiplayer mode. They had pretty much some modules set up and it just never made it through. They said it was a cool idea, it just didn't make sense and they didn't really have the time for it, and they didn't want to take their focus away from single player, and that makes a lot of sense because, you know, all of us really do care about that with Bethesda Game Studios titles, and that's why they are considered some of the best storytellers out there within the gaming industry. Now, this has been a very big debate going on for years. This goes all the way back to Fallout 3 and even Oblivion. There's a very pro side to this. I mean, I've seen a lot of comments from people saying they want to see a different type of take from Bethesda Game Studios with a multiplayer. Some of them actually want to see PvP. Some just want to see a co-op game mode, and I think that's probably the most likely. We'll get into that in a second, but the most negative that I've seen about this is that a lot of people just don't want to see them taking away from story. And with Fallout 4, they're making so many settlement DLCs and really, I guess, focusing on the settlements period in the main game, a lot of people were disappointed just because they're not interested in that aspect. And personally myself, I wasn't very fond of that idea either of introducing settlements. I feel like moving forward, Bethesda Game Studios could figure a way of making this work. If they do a multiplayer in some sorts, or somehow it passes, because we have heard Todd Howard say that future Bethesda Game Studios games are going to be very different. We really don't know what this type of different is. Some people are just going to say it's the technology, they're going to add virtual reality, but I really do think it's going to be something more than that. I mean, I get that most of their games are going to be story driven, but I feel like they're going to add on to it. We've already seen their first phase. It looks like they're adding settlements or adding some type of building, kind of like a Minecraft sorts. And I'm sure in the next games it's going to be a lot more improved. And there's a way that they could introduce this into a multiplayer. If they go along the lines of a Rust, they could bring it into the game, the main game, where we pretty much are able to battle PvP with other players. That could be the way that they work it into it, but then this brings up a lot of problems like how would they do it around towns, and you know, in Fallout 4 you only could do it in certain places, certain settlements. Is there going to be a way that we could put it everywhere? This brings in the big debate about how this would exactly work, and it really just doesn't matter about how the game is built and how it looks. I mean, if they go along with the lines of STARFIELD, which is a very big rumor right now among the community. It's a trademark that Bethesda Game Studios' parent company owns but hasn't, I guess, announced anything for. But if that is new IP, which a lot of people are assuming they're going to make some type of sci-fi RPG, that could be an interesting idea to bring this into effect. With a new property, a new type of game, and see how fans react to it, and maybe bring it into a Fallout or Elder Scrolls game to come. That'd be their first way to, see how fans react to it. I really do think that's more of a curveball idea. I mean, I really would like to see Bethesda Game Studios try something very different with one of their new IPs that they're making or one of their new projects, period. But if they don't do that, I really do believe that settlements are going to be improved a lot more. They'll probably add more quests and make more meaning towards it, because I really just don't see them scrapping that from their next future games. Sorry guys for the people that don't like it, like myself. I really do think that this is something to stay. But moving forward, I did talk about co-op mode at the beginning, and this is probably the most realistic thing we're going to be getting. You know, the idea to have a player next to you is probably the coolest. You know, I've always wanted to be with one of my friends and just play Fallout or Elder Scrolls, and unfortunately, it's a single player game. And I get there's reasons for that, but I feel like there's one different type of way that they could do this. I mean, it doesn't exactly have to be you have two main characters and they have same path or some type of storyline going along those lines. I feel like they could do something where maybe one of our players next to us or friends is just a companion, somebody who's along for the ride, I guess, in a way, and they get to battle it out. And that would be the easiest way to introduce this and actually bring us our first Bethesda Game Studios online game mode. And I really don't see this as being something that would take away from the game. I don't think there would be needed too much development, but I could be dead wrong about that. Maybe their engine's at its limitations, which in reality I really do think it's time. This would allow us to battle enemies, continue through the story, go through main quest and side quest, and go through the environment and see what Bethesda Game Studios has created for us. It would just be a blast as a co-op game mode for us. Anywho guys, I want to thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like the video if you did enjoy, and make sure to dive in the comment section below. Let me know what your thoughts are. I'm pretty sure I'm going to see a lot of comments like multiplayer makes no sense, Bethesda Game Studios shouldn't do that, but I really do want to see some actual opinions like, is there a way Bethesda Game Studios could possibly do this? And like I said before within the video, I feel like co-op mode, just having a friend being maybe like a companion in some sorts would be I guess the easiest way Bethesda Game Studios could be bringing us our first online game mode. But anywho, I want to thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe for a lot more Elder Scrolls 6 content and Bethesda Game Studios news and information to come, and see you guys later.